Call on the field.
Like oh brother, where art thou? Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. But you could essentially boil down, and I enjoyed one of the comments on one of the pages I was reading that described the entirety of the story of the Glycon as Callus the Space Rhino is angry at his darkness waifu. Which,
well, there you go,
is pretty true. So to back it up a little bit, we have to understand some of Callus's motivations for what he's trying to do on the Glycon. So from last episode, we know that Callus had been exiled by Gaul after Gaul took over the Cabal Empire during the Midnight Game.
Yep.
So what Gaul did was he piled Callus and people that were still his followers that were loyal to him into the Leviathan and set the Leviathan on a unchangeable, or believed to be unchangeable, autopilot in the Leviathan to go out to the edge of the known universe, specifically an area that the Cabal knew of that they just referred to as the Nothing. It
not
was
the
just
void, not the deep, not the
void, not the deep.
They just called it nothing.
They just called it it was a part of space that they had never been able to get any kind of sensor readings outside of. That, as far as they were concerned, that was the edge of the universe. Exactly. Yep. That was the end of the universe. There was a cafe there on the planet. No.
There's a Starbucks. There's got to be a Starbucks there. There's Starbucks everywhere.
At the depot.
So he sent him on a direct course. yeah. Sent him on a direct, unavoidable course to the end of the known universe. So Callus drifted.
Now, real quick, I want to back up a little bit with the Leviathan itself. What is the Leviathan? Is it a ship? Is it a creature? Is it just a city on top of a ship on top of a creature? What is the Leviathan?
Down. Hey,
you
can't blame him for trying.
It is a ship. It is not a living being, although it certainly looks like one.
It does. It looks like a giant worm.
It does. It's unclear whether or not. I would have to look into it more because I don't know what the timeline is on when Callus found the crown of sorrow.
Mm-hmm.
He stole the crown of sorrow from a hive war moon. I don't know if he did that before his exile or after it, though. If it was before his exile, he could have very much seen the hive architecture and faced the if it was after his exile,
like
then that's not the case.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, Callus gets shipped off to the end of the universe. He gets to the nothingness. He survives his trip to this pit in space. And it's there that he experiences something. We don't know exactly what happened to him, but he had a connection. He had a connection and a interaction with the entity that is known as the darkness. Not the place, not the force, not the power, but the actual conscious entity.
Find them before they find you.
And that entity,
like the Winnower.
Yes, essentially, yes.
Okay.
That entity gave him control of the Leviathan back. It undid, it undid the lockout. In addition to that, it did two things for Callus. It showed him the end of the world as the Winnower desires it. And it promised Callus that he would be the last living thing in the universe, and that once he was the last living thing in the universe, that the Winnower would raise him up to, and they only ever say we'll raise him up to the stars. I don't, that's all interpretation as to what that means, but grant him power, grant him godhood, however you want to read into that. they were going to make him more than what he was once he was the last thing.
Now is this a are we treading on the ground of monkey fist, or like we're gonna do something for you, but you're not gonna like it, like you're gonna be the god of poop or something, like
unknown. They're yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you can still win this. Burn that primeval to the ground. Now,
yeah, yep, literally. That's yeah.
It was just a promise made at this point. The Darkness just made that promise to Callus. And Callus,
that's gotta be a ballsy thing though, to just be like, I'm just gonna accept this promise.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget.
Well, Callus is the ultimate, egomaniac. Like, sure, he is, as far as he's concerned, he is what the universe revolves around.
Ooh,
yeah. So this just fed into that even more. And what it also did was it gave Callus, and I didn't realize this till I was looking through notes today, it gave Callus, or taught Callus, how to psychically put himself into other people's bodies.
Holy fuck. Like
how to invade the mind of somebody else and not read their mind, destroy their mind, and
literally
take control
like be
of
them. Like that, like he is now them.
So when he's controlling his robots, it's not through like a robotic
it's not like VR, like
analog. No, he's literally projecting his mind into those robotic bodies and using them as a vessel.
Holy shit.
So Callus has this this interaction, this great meeting, and the Darkness gives him this mission of, go forth, tell people the end of the world is coming.
All right.
And
let's see what we've
be
got.
The last thing.
Scorn approaching.
So in Callus's viewpoint, he goes, all right, world end, universe has gone to shit, we might as well enjoy the ride. So that's his whole deal about opulence and about, like he goes to all of the different planets that he goes to, and he goes there with military might and with the ability to conquer, but it's always under the guise of like, I'm just making sure you can enjoy your lives, what's left of your lives, to the best of your ability. That's kind of his view.
That's an interesting thought too, because like he knows, like he's talked to the people that told him, hey, this like, we know when this is gonna end. We will let you be the last, and he's just like, all right, well, let's just let everyone live it up. Like, I almost missed the guy now.
So fast forward to where we're at now. The Black Fleet has invaded Sol.
Okay.
Yet the end hasn't come.
Yeah.
Callus was under the expectation that once the Black Fleet is on the horizon, they're gonna roll in and crush everything underfoot, and that is the end of days, is when you see those pyramids. But what happened was they showed up, and they started talking to us, the Guardian. Callus was no longer special. We were now interacting with the Winnower as well, and the Winnower didn't just come through and crush everything underfoot the way that it had told him it was going to. So Callus feels betrayed.
Absolutely.
He, in his mind, the Winnower was a god, was the god. And, in his mind, being the god, it must be omnipotent, it must not be able to lie. And in his viewpoint, this thing has broken their bargain and has lied to him. And his entire motivation behind what he did on the Glycon is now, I want to connect. I want to get that communication with the Darkness again, with the Winnower again, on my terms, to like force them to uphold their bargain. Is essentially what his goal is. So
enemy invader down. Hey, you can't blame him for trying.
He
holy shit,
has a guardian.
That's kind of like from the standpoint of somebody who thought like from his standpoint, like, you know, this is a god, like that's gonna be a hard thing to swallow.
I mean, it's a very it's a much more nuanced motivation than just like, you know, I'm a bad guy. You know, like there's a lot going on there. And so he has the guardian that has been working for him called Catabases. And Catabases' name is the first clue as to what the story of the Glycon is in truth, and is in that Greek tragedy sense. Sure. So Catabases is a Greek name. He as a guardian had self-proclaimed very little patience or trust in the city or the vanguard, which is why he was so drawn in by Callus's offers of, you know, weapons and power and whatnot. And his name literally means to descend in Greek.
Okay.
And his ghost is Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh in
Final Fantasy.
Yes, but I don't think that's where they drew this particular representation.
Gilgamesh and Enkidu.
So Gilgamesh is the I want to say Mesopotamian king. I forget where he was. I mean, we know him from the stories of Gilgamesh. You know, Gilgamesh the hero, the old sagas from Greece, and even prior he shows up. But in all the versions of his story, of Gilgamesh's story, Gilgamesh asks his best friend essentially to descend into the underworld to find these prized items of his that have been stolen. And the friend that he asks to descend into the underworld, whose name in the Greek versions is Enkidu. The story, yeah. The story always goes, he descends into the underworld, he finds these items, which sometimes are weapons, sometimes it's a musical instrument, it's just a thing, it's a MacGuffin.
Sure.
And it's always that as he's trying to bring them back to Gilgamesh, he breaks a law of the underworld, which forces him to have to stay there forever. Like to his soul is now trapped there. So
okay.
These are the characters we've been given right from the get-go. The Guardian,
this is very much like is Glycon itself Greek?
I don't know. I didn't find any reference to it outside of the Destiny like lore cards and things.
Okay.
But you know what? Yes. Which I don't know if that's just by nature. Yeah, I don't know if that's just by nature of the fact that like he just is the most searched term when it comes to Glycon at this point.
Funny.
Oh no! Here we go.
I don't scare, but when it comes to the score,
is a snake god associated with the Greek prophet Alexander.
Get ready for transmat.
So let's see.
Grab the moat.
So this is very much like this is literally like Destiny's telling of the Odyssey.
Is heavily based on Greek stories.
That's kind of cool.
So it is. It really is. So these are our characters. We have
that kind of cool as if it wasn't cool in the first place.
So we have Catabases and Gilgamesh. one meaning descent, the other historically asking his friend to descend into the underworld, who are under the employ of Callus. Okay. Catabases is named the canonical shadow of Callus.
Okay.
And is invited to the Leviathan.
That's where you were talking about how like he is literally the shadow of Callus.
Yes, he is literally the shadow of Callus. He is the guardian shadow of Callus.
Gotcha.
Not that Callus doesn't replace his shadows when one, is done. Sure. But yeah.
Incoming wave
so
at the drill.
he invites Catabases to the Leviathan, and Catabases is brought to Callus's chamber where he sees Callus, the real Callus. And as far as I know, he's the only person other than Callus's immediate attendants to have seen him. And what he's greeted to is this very thin, pale, sickly formed Cabal, who is by all accounts looks just disgusting, is how Catabases actually describes him. He is disgusting to look at. And he's in what he refers to as his carriage or his throne, which it seems like he is permanently stuck in.
You're talking like Dalek style, like head Dalek?
Not quite.
It's a weird reference to come up with, but that's instantly what my mind thought of.
So this throne that he's in, this carriage, has 4 poles to be picked up and carried by his entourage. But
Egyptian style. Or
like
Greek
Egyptian style. Right? Yeah, Greek was very similar. And this carriage is filled and is constantly being replaced, or constantly having it pumped in and cycled out, his royal wine. His wine, it turns out, enhances his telekinetic abilities.
Is this the same shit that the Leviathan is producing?
Yes. He needs his wine, his quote-unquote royal wine, to be able to use the abilities the darkness gave him.
Yeah. Kind of. More like Leviathan secretions?
So, Catabases sees him in this carriage full of wine, which he doesn't know what it's saying. He doesn't know what we as the reader do, because we can put all these pieces together.
Yeah.
So Callus tells him he believes he's been betrayed by the darkness. He kind of explains all of the, how he came to know the darkness. Pretty much the whole preamble I gave. And he told Catabases that he plans to speak to his former god turned liars and force the truth from them. And in order to do that, they require a ship that is not the Leviathan. They require a ship that will not be trackable and that they can do what they need to do. And so,
very much like Odyssey,
and that's it.
There's a lot of pieces from a lot of different ones that are just. I don't want to say they're just cobbled together, but there's very much like
there's a lot of
into each other. This is kind of cool.
So he pairs Catabases with a Cabal Centurion named Barto, and a Scion named Quinsing. And they, as a 3-man fire team, are to find him his ship. And so the trio goes to Nessus to steal, which ends up being the Glykon, from the remnants of the Red Legion that are still based there.
Oh, sure.
So they succeed in that. And
I would think that
interesting...
Firebase Hades would be an easier one, but at the same time. It's like Nessus is a little bit more convenient because there's nobody there. Like,
well, and the Leviathan's orbiting Nessus already. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's just right there. Like, hey, let's just drop down for a second.
So an interesting little note that happens in their operation of acquiring the ship is Quinsing discovers a Red Legion scion that's on the ship that has noticed them. However, because Quinsing is part of the Scion Conclave, and this scion from the Red Legion is also part of the Scion Conclave, she agrees to let them leave in exchange for them not sounding the alarm. So the Conclave's another thing. If you don't know what it is, it's a splinter faction within the Cabal that is like Scion freedom fighters, kind of.
Real quick, did we ever figure out who did send the Scion that targeted Zavala?
So, funny enough, the Scion that Quinsing allows to escape from the Glykon before they take off is the Scion that creates the light-sucking device that was used on Zavala's ghost.
Holy shit.
Now, we don't know if it's the Scion that fired it, but it is absolutely the Scion that created it. And the ones that... So the Conclave is this like splinter group within the that they're the ones that tried to partake the hit on Zavala. But that's a whole nother story.
Evil little shit.
Yes.
Prepare for transit.
So they succeed in stealing the Glykon and
getting not like the original version.
Yeah, no, I get you. So they succeed in stealing the Glykon. They disable the ability for the Glykon to be tracked, and they blow up the base behind them so that no one will know that ship.
Well, because cool guys don't look at explosions.
And that, yeah. So they have their ship for Callus. They return. They inform him that they have transportation, and he tells them that he has figured out that the only way he'll be able to talk to the darkness is that he will need to use dark touch subjects, preferably dead subjects, because they are, in his words, closer to the darkness, in order to commune with the Winnower. And what do you know it? Scorn fit the bill perfectly. They are touched by dark ether, which is corrupted by darkness, and they are undead. So for the next couple of months,
which then kind of helps. This also kind of helps prove our theory about dark ether being ether calamity plus A equals B, calamity plus ether equals dark ether, and now dark ether is literally touched by darkness.
And there's even more for that theory later on. So now, over the next couple of months, this fire team of three, Quinsing, Katabases, and Bartel, go around the reef and start collecting Scorn. Much to the confusion of the Awoken and Guardians that patrol the reef as to why groups of Scorn are randomly disappearing.
Got eyes on a high-value target.
So they gather up a very significant amount, like in the hundreds, maybe thousands, of Scorn.
I mean, we kill a lot of Scorn on the Flicker.
And Quinsing is tasked with the job of figuring out how do we turn these Scorn into a telephone in the dark. Is essentially what it is. How do we?
I like that analogy. It's very apt and it's very appropriate. But it's just the thought of like, hey, you got Dial of Darkness? Yeah, sure. Got a couple of Scorn downstairs. Let's just ring them up.
They have the forks on their head. They get good reception. You know.
Oh my god, you are terrible.
So
this is brought to you by T-Mobile.
No longer a sponsor. It was...
Oh, too soon. Too bad.
So what Quinsing does is she figures that dark ether, because of the way it's created,
if they kill it, they win.
She attributes dark ether to be similar to Calus's wine, and figures that the more of it that there is, the stronger the connection between the Scorn and darkness will become.
Sure.
So clearly, she makes the leap in logic that what she needs to do is start drowning them in dark ether, literally.
Kill them,
drown them to the point where like they're still alive in there because they're undead. They don't need food, theoretically. So she just keeps them in canisters of dark ether, until it's ready to do whatever experiment she's working on.
Opposing team
Redis did this with babies in a game.
Yes, kind of, ish. So through her experiments, she discovers that the Scorn have a connected hive mind of sorts, where between the Scorn between Scorn.
Okay.
It's all one big general consciousness. They can all hear each other's thoughts. But without any of the Barons left after we decimated them, there was no leading force in this hive mind. There was no longer anyone to give a purpose to this hive mind. So the Scorn only knew the last thought, the last purpose they were given by Fickrell, which was kill everything that isn't you, essentially.
This seems to be a repeating theme in things that we discover in Destiny. Like, Siva had this thing too of... Well, I mean, like, literally everything. Like, Rasputin gave Siva one command and then shut itself off from it. It was like, that's it. And then the command was replicate, kill, assimilate, and go. And that was it. Like...
Yep. So... Yep, watch the VOD.
Yep. You better believe it, baby. Yeah. Later, Gator.
So, through further experimentation, she discovers that because of this, because they're a network that needs a head, essentially. They need someone to be able to direct them. Their hive mind seeks someone to tell them what to do and what to do.
Gotcha.
She figured that if she could somehow open that network up to, another entity coming into it, that could be how they commune with the Winnower. Make the Winnower the head of this hive mind, and now they all know the thoughts of the Winnower and vice versa, and that could be how they communicate. So, Quinsing experiments more with the Dark Ether drowning, as well as inscribing runes, hive runes, literally into the brains of the Scorn, and finds a combination of runes along with the Dark Ether that opens them, that opens their hive mind network, at least with the hive mind of the ones within the light, the ones that are all close to each other. Holy shit. So they plan to use the Scorn as a vessel for the darkness to inhabit so that Calus can then communicate with them. A fun little note here, Oryx did the same thing in the Book of Sorrow, using an unborn ogre as the vessel instead of a Scorn. So technically, this process has already been discovered by a different race and was successful.
That's kind of mind-blowing that, like, two totally separate races literally just came up with the same idea just by accident.
Well, and remember, as much of a conqueror and fighter as he was, Oryx was seeking knowledge for his worm.
True. So he was gifted the worm of knowledge, right?
Yes. Yep. So he was actually incredibly intelligent in regards to just the workings of the universe as a whole. So yeah. So needless to say, they arrived at the same conclusion Oryx did as far as how to communicate. Sure. They tell Callus, "Hey, we think we figured it out." Callus then boards the Glykon, along with his scribe Amsat, who is responsible for some of the lore, some of the dialogue that Osiris is reading to us.
I was going to say, not just that. Is he the same one that does all the I can't remember what it's called.
Half pint taken, headed to the other side.
The books that
Yes. The Callus's telling of things to come. Yes, that was all offside.
That was all offside. Okay. Brace yourself.
I can't think of the name of the books. It's driving me nuts.
High value target is down.
I can't either. Confessions?
Confessions. That's what it is. Yes.
I think I found this one. Yep. So he's accompanied by his scribe Amsat and a group of his followers, his loyalists.
Invaders off the field.
They bring aboard the Glykon not only Callus but also the Crown of Sorrow.
That seems like a bad idea. The crown. Just in general, that seems like a bad idea.
By Callus's claim, the crown has been quote-unquote scrubbed of Savathun's influence by his scion scientists and repurposed to, instead of subjugating the mind of the person that wears it, to open the mind of the person who wears it. And the thought process being, if we take these scorn and we inscribe these hive runes on them, and we make them susceptible to somebody using them as a vessel, and then we put them in the Crown of Sorrow, the Crown of Sorrow will be the connection, the conduit between the darkness and the scorn that allows for them to see each other, essentially.
This all just seems like a bad idea.
They then take the Glykon and they fly to the gravity anomaly that is where Mars used to be.
To the other side. Your allies
so
back.
The black hole.
So when we go visit the Glykon, we're basically where Mars is.
Yes, we're on the edges of where Mars
is. Okay. You're nearly there. Fill the bank. Get that primeval.
The crown now has the ability to bridge or merge minds, not necessarily control minds.
Watch it. You're shedding motes.
So Callus begins, now that he has all these pieces in play, he begins a communion ritual. Where he puts, essentially he approaches the anomaly, Mars's grave as they call it.
Sure.
And he perceives these dark, wispy tendrils come from the center of this anomaly. The center of this black hole, for lack of a better term.
Invading the other side.
And the scions now use the scorn. The scions use their own, psychic abilities. And that's the other thing. I don't think any of us realize how strong psychically scions actually are.
That's what I'm saying. Like when you talk about them literally pulling a moon out of its orbit to do crazy shit with, that's when I was like, scions are nuts, man.
Yeah. So these scions reach out with their minds, and they start psychically stitching Scorn's consciousness to the consciousness of the dark tendrils that are coming out of the anomaly.
Like plugging in Ethernet cables to a router.
Yeah, kinda. As they're doing this,
if we're going to use telephone metaphors, I'm going to use
It's not over.
RJ45 is perfectly fine. So as they're doing this, the Glykon, the ship, is physically being sucked towards the anomaly.
You're in the lead.
And it's described as the ship is being strained, and the kind of like the it feels like the ship is starting to stretch, and I relate that to like in Star Trek right before warp speed, where it kind of like does that real long stretch and then it's gone, kind of thing. I equate it to that kind of feeling.
I was thinking more like black hole. How a black hole is typically represented in movies where it's like whoever is in it and near it is stretching over and over and over again. But I do like the warp speed thing too. That's a very
that's how I pictured it. But whatever does it for you, the ship has this feeling of strain, this feeling of being stretched, and time stops for everyone except for Callus. And Callus uses that opportunity to call out to the darkness, call out to the winnower, and essentially say, I am here. I have followed you. His literal words are, I have emulated all of me in your image. I have stretched my mind for so many and reaped the pleasures and experiences of every vessel. I have reached out as you showed me when last we met. I split open each scorned mind from my carriage. So he is proclaiming to me, in my interpretation, that he is telling the darkness that he perceives their true form as being something that exists within many vessels, something that can hop into another body, and he has tried to emulate that as much as possible to become closer to them, in his view. So he makes this grand proclamation, expecting them to talk back to him, to accept him, to say, yes,
well done.
we see you, we acknowledge you as being worthy of us and our power. Instead, what he gets is the ship being pushed back out of the anomaly and reality returning to normal. A rejection is how he takes it.
Well done, JK, eat a dick. Who are you? Who are you again? I don't remember us talking before.
New phone, who dis?
New phone, who dis? Oh my god, that is literally perfect. New phone, who dis?
He doesn't take this perceived rejection very well, and he tears the Scorn apart, the Scorn that were being used for this experiment. He psychically tears them apart. He tears into their minds, looking for any remnant of the darkness that hopefully they connected to, and finds nothing. And so he tears them literally apart and searches their remains to find some hint that the darkness was there and was listening to him, and finds nothing. And so his realization or his thought process is that they were close, but the darkness never actually heard him. Like it wasn't a complete connection. Something was missing. And so
not that they rejected him. Like he's looking at it as they didn't even pick up the phone.
Right. He was seeing it as like they, that the vessel that they were trying to use wasn't wasn't fit to establish the connection.
Okay.
So he says, we were almost there. We need to continue our experiments. We need to figure out what that last final piece of it is. And so they continue experimenting on Scorn, and they find that there's one Scorn in their group of captures
Cabal
that
on the
seems
feet.
to have a extra special affinity for the Crown of Sorrow. They don't know why. They just know that it reacts much stronger to the crown than any other Scorn they've ever tried.
Let's hunt some hostiles,
And
brother. Bring them
they
loads
name
to
that
the back.
Scorn the Locust of Communion.
Okay.
So now that they have found the Locust, who they think, because it has this special reaction to the crown, is going to be that final piece, is going to be able to bridge the connection. They do another ritual of communion. And a little bit, so to pull back a little bit, the entire time all this is going on, this fire team of 3, Katakusis, Bartow, and Quinsing, are all on the ship. They've been here through all the experiments. They've been here through all the trials, all the attempts at communion. So they've lived together for months at this point. And over that time period, Katakusis has noticed that his ghost is doing some weird shit.
Well, you're talking to... this may be tomorrow's episode of what the hell is a ghost and what the hell is a ghost. But you're talking something that is very connected to the light, being that close to the darkness. Like, some fucky shit's gonna happen.
And we have seen how much influence the darkness can have on ghosts.
Right.
With other ghosts, yeah. And so, right before the attempt, the ritual of communion using the locust, Bartow comes to Katakusis and says, hey, I think you should know that your ghost has been going around
Not exactly playing it
talking,
safe, are you?
quote
You
unquote,
should
to the
cash in
Scorn.
now.
The Scorn don't seem to be reacting, but he's like trying to communicate with them, and I don't know why.
How about you park? Burn it down.
And so Katakusis kind of waves it off as he's trying to get intel any way we can. We've been here for too damn long,
Large
kind
blocker
of
to the
thing.
other side.
But internally, he's like,
Say hello.
he's taken note. He's a little worried about it. So
That does seem concerning that a ghost is talking to a lot of different.
So Callus now does his ritual again.
Because we don't have any indication that they can even understand or interact with anything other than their own hive mind, but their own Scorn hive mind, right? Like
So it's jumping ahead, but there is a hint. There is a hint. So Callus does his ritual with the locust, and this time different things happen. This time the Glycon is pulled toward the anomaly again, but instead of stopping and then being pushed back, Katakusis refers to it as it breaks Acheron's wall. The Acheron is another Greek reference. It is a river in Greece that during ancient Greek times, the Acheron was the river of woe and was said to flow all the way to the underworld and merge with the river Styx.
right.
There's a bit of a theme
But not specifically the River Styx. Like it was like a tributary.
Yeah, yeah. It was, you know, it was another river that flowed into the underworld. And it was specifically the River of Woe. It was said that when people committed suicide, their souls followed after the sorrowful darkness. So he describes the Glycon. What the Glycon did is breaking Acheron's wall. Essentially, it met the resistance that it had hit before and broke through the barrier of reality. And where the ship ended up, they only describe as a sunless place, where there was no light of stars, and...
I mean, it could be a black hole.
I guess. But,
But even a black hole, though, like, I mean...
headed to the other side.
But the thing is that they were physically fine. Like, they had gone through this wall, they'd had this big experience, similar to that stretching feeling again.
Yeah.
But this time, they came out the other side and were okay. Like, they still were themselves, you know. They were just in this other realm.
Is it similar to what Mara experienced as going into the distributary?
The enemy team's about to win.
I would need to see what her description of distributary are. What I'm thinking, personally, is that they literally broke into the deep.
Enemy team melted their
primeval.
The place the deep. I'm thinking that they got dragged in by the darkness through this connection that they established using the Crown of Sorrow, and where they ended up was the realm of the darkness, was the place the deep.
That's Odyssey. That's Odyssey and Tempest.
So
this is very, very Greek-like.
Yes, very much so. There's a lot of Greek influence. So the first thing they notice after they look outside and see they're in a different place than where they started, is that Callus is just gone. He's disappeared completely. There isn't a body. There isn't, you know, there's nothing to indicate that he died. He just isn't there. And from that point forward, he's never found. Like we to this day do not know where he is.
We as the player and we as the Guardian don't know.
Both. We have no indication of where he is now. One could theorize that the connection to the darkness was successful, and they did accept him, and made
him whatever they did. They made their deal with them.
Right. But we don't know. We don't know yet. So we're on the ship now with Catabases and that fire team, that crew. And they hear, well, there's a lore card here that's called The Heresy of Flesh. And the lore card is written from the perspective of the Locust of Communion.
Honors me, Guardian.
The Locust itself. And it is the Locust describing essentially the sensation of the darkness taking it over. It talks about
Bungie has gone dark.
They have.
This will bring light.
Holy shit.
The lore card is essentially just one-word emotions for a good portion of it. Like, what are the Scorn as a whole feeling? And it's, fear, anger, hunger. It's very very just baseline instinctual things that the Scorn as a whole on the Glycon are feeling.
When I lost
And then when it starts to interrupt those with like a knocking on a door. And I think that's representation of the darkness literally knocking on the door of the Locust mind, trying to get in and take it over and use it as a vessel of sorts. And as the knocking becomes more insistent, the Locust becomes more conscious of itself. It starts referring to itself as its Elixni name before it died and became a Scorn, which I believe was Acrius or something like that. And then, as it becomes more aware of itself and the knocking becomes more insistent, and it's still getting the emotional signals from the rest of the Scorn, but it can think outside of those signals now, and then the darkness comes in, opens the door, and the Locust and all of the Scorn on the entire Glycon at that moment repeat the same phrase, which is meet salvation.
The same shit the darkness said to us.
Yeah.
This theme with salvation and the darkness seems to be like the darkness either views the traveler just as, or not the traveler, the darkness views everything that isn't the darkness as like, I don't want to use the word bad or bad guy or evil or whatever. It just views it as not needing to be there anymore, like something that's in turmoil or something that's imperfect or something that doesn't conform to something. And the darkness itself always seems to have this like we can fix you, like broken is a more, the darkness seems to look at everything as it's broken, as it's incomplete, and the darkness keeps using this word salvation of we can fix you, we can grant you peace, we can like.
So I want to put a pin in that because that's going to come up here really soon. But think about that concept in the next couple lines here. So the Glycon, Callus is gone. All of the Scorn are repeating this phrase, and suddenly there's a pulse. Just like they describe it as the feeling of a invisible shockwave. And with that pulse, the Glycon literally rearranges itself physically. It's a pulse in reality is how it was described. Like the Glycon is phasing in and out between this dark realm and the real realm, and pieces of it are ending up in different places as it like settles back into the dark realm.
And Osiris talks about this as we're going through it.
Mm-hmm. That its structure makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's because pieces of it are literally like phasing out of existence and then phasing into existence in a different place.
In a different spot, yeah.
And what this does, of course, is just so happen to phase just right to release all the Scorn from their cages.
Oh, of course.
From their holding cells. And so now you have the Locust, which has control of all the Scorn, with a thinking who knows what now, under who knows what directive. And it is now directing all of the other Scorn on the Glycon as essentially as the new Baron type figure.
Calamity plus Scorn equals Scorn Calamity.
So now Catavices and the crew that's left have to fight off the Scorn within the ship while also trying to figure out what the hell they do now.
Darkness and I can't say darkness infused. That's not darkness motivated Scorn.
Darkness touched. Yeah, like there's it's hard to quantify exactly what has happened to them. Yeah, I'm not honestly sure. I don't know what the actual change is that has happened. Clearly, we know there was a change. We can observe there was a change, but we do not know the details of that change.
Sure.
But yes, these guys are now fighting through the ship. They're still in the dark reality, and now these pulses are happening periodically. Like multiple times a day in some cases.
7 times a minute, right? Because
Bungie, yeah. And every time this pulse happens, not only does the ship rearrange itself, the Scorn that they've killed come back to life. So it is a literal endless army of Scorn, because no matter how many they kill, when the next pulse happens, all of those corpses get back up and start fighting again. So Quinsing theorizes that their main objective should be to leave the anomaly, to leave the Dark Realm.
Get the hell out of here.
Remember,
and that by breaking out of the deep, the Scorn will stay dead. And she sees the Crown of Sorrow as the connective tissue between their ship and the deep. And so if they can break that connection, then they'll be let free, is what they're hoping.
A gateway to the ascended plane.
So they rally all the Cabal that are still on the ship, and Catabases and Quinsing, and they go to the where the Crown of Sorrow is, and they make something of a final stand. Them against these endless waves of Scorn, as to give Quinsing time to figure out how to psychically disconnect, undo this connection from the Crown of Sorrow. It fails.
Tagged it.
Everyone is slaughtered except for Catabases, because his ghost can bring him back. Catabases is now the only one left on the Glycon. He has Quinsing attempt at dealing with the Crown failed. The Crown just touches the Crown quickly. He has no idea what he should be doing. He has stashed supply, being the hunter that he is, he's stashed supplies and emergency bug-out bags
right back into the ascendant
all
plane.
Across the ship, and these smugglers
Told you I tagged it.
And he goes between the smuggling rooms as the ship shifts itself with every pulse. He finds the next smuggling room that's closest to him, and he lives off those supplies for months, until eventually his supplies run out. He no longer has any food or water, and he is now in the cycle of starving to death, to be resurrected, to starve to death, to be resurrected, and so on and so on, until eventually he's had enough, and he tells his ghost, Gilgamesh, just leave me dead until a rescue party arrives.
It has nowhere to hide. Do your thing.
And his ghost promises to do so.
Truly damage the celebrant without reclaimed light.
And now
we flushed them out of the ascended plane and into the open. I just shot them until they ran, but I like
final lore card of Captain's log is written from the ghost's perspective. Gilgamesh sees Catabases' quest to not be resurrected as a escape, as a coward's way out, and that he's leaving Gilgamesh alone. He's abandoning Gilgamesh, he's abandoning his friend to take, quote-unquote, the easy way out, to not have to feel anything until safety is guaranteed. Well, this doesn't sit well with Gilgamesh, and it reinforces what all the whispers he's been hearing since he and his guardian set foot on the Glycon, or the Glycon near the anomaly. And apparently, these whispers, which we can only assume are from the darkness, have been telling Gilgamesh and offering him salvation, telling him that like your life, your whole existence is the endless life and endless battle. Like you die because you are a weaker organism. You die because you are supposed to die by sword logic, by survival of the fittest, and the fact that you can come back to continual suffering is a perversion of the system. Let us be your salvation. Let us put you where
Stop
you're
bleeding
supposed to
energy.
be.
We can't get through.
You poor, awful creature that has had this thing done to you. Let us save you.
Bungie has gone fucking dark.
And
like,
so
your companions are trapped in the ascendant
so
plane
Gilgamesh gives in to those whispers, gives in to that message that's being broadcast to him.
But maybe there's
And
enough hive magic left
he
in the
revives
to activate some other way through.
Catabases one last time. And he revives him in the middle of a group of Scorn. He transmats his body into a literal ambush, into a room filled with Scorn. And Catabases is very clearly surprised, and is asking him like, "What have you done? Why are you doing this?
If things get ugly for us in here, just know it's not your
you're not
fault.
supposed
Everything I
to
did,
resurrect me
I
until
did because I wanted to.
we're safe."
Thank you
And
for letting me have a
Gilgamesh
choice.
tells him that he can't be the traveler's ghost anymore. And he tells Catabases that he has a choice. Catabases can either kill Gilgamesh, his ghost, or Gilgamesh will continue to revive him endlessly to be torn limb from limb by this group of Scorn until he agrees to this suicide pact, essentially. And Catabases...
What the fuck is happening? What in the fuck is happening?
Catabases finally understands that Gilgamesh has been, corrupted. The darkness has taken him. Catabases has. And that's where he sees this now as as putting a corrupt ghost out of its misery. And he kills Gilgamesh and survives for as long as he can on his own, but eventually succumbs after sending the distress signal that we eventually receive.
Force a giver.
And then we come in and discover all of this and piece it all together.
I feel broken
keeping
now.
it busy?
I'm
nearly at the portal where you came in.
The icon is a Greek tragedy.
Speechless and like...
The celebrant must die in the ascendant plane, and you're our best shot at making that happen.
I don't know how to feel.
I survived by watching the world around me and learning from my light. I've studied how that thing creates those portals. This time, I'll be ready.
So, there's the story of the icon. I have a couple additional notes that I took down that are just things of interest that I discovered that aren't directly related to the story, but may tie into other things.
One real quick tangent.
Yes.
Our new sponsors are now Prozac and fluoxetine.
There we go.
Get a couple milligrams in you. What the hell, man? What the hell?
Yeah,
what the hell, Bungie?
They lean real hard into, there is no Greek hero that comes out unscathed. There is no happy Greek story outside of Perseus. And they lean real hard into that.
Yeah. That's like, I don't know how to... I don't know how to process this. This is hard to process.
energy readings are spiking. It's going to create
It's a
another
rough one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really interesting universe intrigue, but when it gets down to the end,
The nitty gritty, like it.
yeah, there's
Hamlet.
Now,
Everyone died.
pretty much.
Hamlet, the ultimate creature.
the high celebrant of Zebua Wrath is no more.
But so some of those additional notes,
destroyed
just
its
to
portal from the other
perhaps
side when it tried
distract
to
a
escape.
bit from
I knew he wouldn't
that.
really leave us.
No, never.
it's
oh,
it's
bring its
unclear
head, would you?
what purpose
Spider will
this
want
is going to
proof when you come
serve.
to collect.
But Osiris
It's
makes a
been an
comment
honor,
along the
Guardian.
line, referring to the plants in the Glycon. He says that
We're talking the hentai tentacle porn stuff.
yes, those.
Okay.
He says that the flora harmonizes at the same frequency as the darkness, and is similar to what
Reinforcing
the Drifter
the idea that the light has a frequency.
frequency, and it seems the darkness also has a frequency.
I'm curious if these frequencies. So, like when I think of frequencies, I instantly think of the I think it's called the frequency spectrum, where it shows gamma rays, it shows X-rays, it shows where visible light is, microwaves, where like the entire bandwidth of frequencies from 0 hertz to a badillion hertz. I'm curious if the darkness is basically 0 hertz and the light is infinite hertz.
So, I think that theory has a lot of grounding, because going back to Trials of Osiris, and specifically Brother Vance, as he was overseeing the original Trials of Osiris back in D1.
Yeah.
He references that the lighthouses gave an audible tone whenever a guardian died, and a different audible tone whenever they were resurrected. And the thought process being that one of those tones represents darkness and one of those tones represents light. Now, the thing about it is that Vance was the only one that could hear those tones. And the theory is because he is blind, his hearing just had the capabilities, had been honed to the point where it could perceive those tones. He could perceive those frequencies. And
now, when we think of it, if now that's a hard one to try to say one is infinite, one is 0, because human hearing is within X hertz and X hertz.
True. I don't know how much we want to prescribe natural human hearing to the Destiny universe, though.
I'm still thinking of this as I like the idea of because then it kind of plays into that darkness of the simplest thing, the most complex thing, the light being the most complex thing, which would be in my thought infinity, and the simplest thing being 0, being nothing, being the darkness, being the deep, being that 0 hertz, like that's
that would make a lot of sense,
hertz. Yeah. But each one of those is an inconceivable frequency.
Right, it's not something that would be audible.
No, not even audible. Like, it's not even like...
It wouldn't be anything.
It's not visual. Like, you can't represent... Like, you couldn't graph out 0 hertz. I mean, essentially 0 hertz is just a straight line at 0, but at the same time, if that is a frequency... That is a frequency, or maybe it's like a divided by 0 frequency, like undefined. Like, that's...
Right.
Like maybe that's what it is, like 1/0 or something like that. Like that to me would be the like the thing, like 1/0, 1/infinity. That'd be your ratio.
I would not be surprised if it's something along those lines. Another thing that I pull from that example that is echoed in the story of the Glycon is that the tone of the darkness in the Trials lighthouses signifies death.
Right.
And light signifies revival.
Resurrection.
They can only... They talk, both Oryx and Callus, talk to the darkness through dead vessels.
Yep.
Vance, I don't think is a guardian. I think he's just human.
I think he's just a dude. I think he's just a crazy dude.
He doesn't have a connection to the light. However, people that don't have a connection to the light can still have a connection to the darkness, a la Elsie Bray.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think that mostly just comes down to that every being is mortal except for guardians. Guardians
Which would
have
explain
both.
a lot of, well, oh shit, because we used to be.
Right. Guardians were a dead thing. And now they're not. So they have the capacity for both.
So, coming back to Total Pass,
Remember,
because that's what I'm going to call it now.
Must be killed in the plane.
And Gilgamesh,
Destroy
I
it.
just call him Enkidu, Gilgamesh and Enkidu.
Right. No celebrant, no kryptonite.
That means that resurrection from a ghost is not it's a subconscious thing. It's not in like they can stop doing it.
Bro, are you there?
But they can't. But they can't.
Track the celebrant through a portal into swirling darkness.
Well,
a gateway to the ascendant.
yes
They
and no.
can delay it,
swirling,
but they can't just
darkness.
stop resurrecting.
I'm learning its tricks now, studying how it moves through these realms. It's like a
I
shark.
feel like there's a story somewhere of a ghost that did.
Keep an eye on it.
But
I can do more than that.
maybe not. But let me look. I may have been thinking of this part of Glycon where he's asked not to.
Where he's asked him not to, and again that delaying and not physically being able to do something. That's like holding your breath, right? Like you can hold your breath, but you will eventually have to breathe again. Like that to me is that whole like, and it's the subconscious thing. Like you can't hold your breath to the point of suffocating because your body will pass out and you will stop breathing again.
Okay, so here we go. This is pretty definitive proof. In Entry 5, the lore book The Pigeon and the Phoenix, the ghost abandons his dead guardian to, quote, reunite with the traveler and find someone new, someone dead. So that seems to imply
back into the ascendant plane.
that ghosts
But it left something behind.
can just abandon a dead guardian.
They can abandon him, but that ghost still is going to resurrect somebody else. He is actively going to go find somebody else and resurrect him.
Destroy it, and the essences in your
That's
lore
true.
should reopen the portal. Be quick.
It's not an abandonment of its duty to the traveler to have a guardian. It's the abandonment of that guardian.
That specific guardian. That's like saying, I don't like this cat because he's a dick.
Bro, where are you?
You know, and then you just pass it off to your grandma and be like, hey, sorry, grandma, you're stuck with a dick cat.
The way I see it,
I'm gonna go get a kid.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get a brand new kitten. I'm gonna teach this thing how not to be a dick. Yeah.
This isn't working. We can't truly damage
So I
the
think resurrection from a ghost is a subconscious subroutine that they cannot shut off. They can delay it. They can absolutely delay it. They can push it off. They can hold off on doing it for eons if they need to. Like the amount of time is undefined as far as how long they have to. They can like hold off on resurrecting, but they inherently have to resurrect. That to me is a subroutine of the ghost and of the inherently of the light, because the ghosts are of the light. Because we've never met a darkness ghost, right?
We've met ghosts that are not inherently good, but not ghosts that are channeling dark energy.
Again, when the darkness talks about salvation, they're talking about fixing something. They're talking about.
Well, the thing that I think they see, and I put this back to what was being whispered to Gilgamesh. I think the darkness sees themselves as our salvation because they see us as something that the traveler is forcing to be alive.
Perversion, as a this is wrong. You should be dead.
Yeah, we're going to save you from this suffering that you have been put into with no choice. Like when something is stronger, the strong thing lives, and the loser dies. And
so does that mean that? Now this is going to dive a little deeper into the darkness itself. Does this brings up two things. One, does the darkness inherently follow sword logic?
We can't get through.
I think the Celebrant realized which marked it. It sealed the portal.
Just by nature of the simplest thing of I'm stronger, I'm better, I'm greater. You're not. You're dead. I'm now alive. I'm the better being. Because you're dead. That's it. That's the end of you. You are done.
Well, and that goes back to the game, the game of flowers in the garden.
Absolutely.
And that's what the darkness always won the game.
Right.
The darkness turned it around its strategy, the winnower's strategy of of sword logic, essentially, always won the game of flowers against the gardener until the gardener said, I'm introducing I'm introducing complexity to our system.
Bro, we're in the ascendant plane. Do you read us?
And that's all their argument is, essentially.
What are you talking about?
No,
I'm creating a thing
I'm cheating. I'm sick of losing at checkers.
It's like two kids who invented a game, and then the one makes up some bullshit-ass rule that overrules every other bullshit-ass rule that you've just made up.
This is exactly what it is. This is exactly what it is.
And then they're like, no, you weren't touching it. You're not at base. Well, I decided the tree was base, fucker. Well, just because you decided something doesn't make it a new rule. Yeah, it does, because I made it. Sorry. That is literally what I know, sweet. That is exactly what is happening there. The light, the gardener, the one that was losing was like, well, fuck this, I'm sick of losing. I'll make up my own rule.
I'm gonna king my own checker.
Take that, king me, bitch. Hang on, I gotta throw Rice Krispie treats at my
Alright.
Nope, those are empty. You've already eaten those.
Are you keeping it busy?
Well, that was tonight's episode.
Nearly at the portal where you came
in. There we go.
Tune in next week when we go into what's the meaning of life.
The Celebrant must die.
Holy shit, man!
He's leaving.
Dude, the last 2 nights have been
watching the world around me and learning from my light. I've studied how that thing creates those portals.
It's a lot of fun to go through and relook at some of this and like I said, have the perspective of having all the pieces in front of you to then line things up and figure out how this connects to this.
Absolutely.
And stuff like that. That's really cool.
It's truly starting to prove some of our theories that we have. Having Bray's Journal of the Calamity introduced into something makes it something totally different, and now it can never go back. Reinforces the Dark Ether theory, the Soul Praetorians, the darkness itself. If it is in our realm of existence,
destroyed its portal from the other side
and it gets exposed to something in our realm of existence, that new thing is now completely different and can never be undone. It can never go back to being what it was before.
Spider will want proof.
So I have a thought on that. If we assume that the darkness is essentially sword logic incarnate,
okay,
it tracks logically that the changes it makes are going to follow the rules of sword logic.
Has to.
So what if the properties of darkness changing object A into object B is the darkness literally enacting this is what they would become if it followed sword logic?
As in substance B is the winner of the sword logic. Like this is the new, if almost like a time thing, almost like substance, if we took substance A over X amount of time, and it did whatever it needed to do through sword logic, it would become B. And now that it is B, there it is. Like, that's it. It can't go back to being A because it's now B.
It's inherently, it's inherently better than A. It is by sword logic, it is the simpler, stronger conclusion
better, greater
of object A.
Yeah.
By following the path of sword logic. I don't have anything to prove that, but like just we're saying
I feel like that's a absolutely. I mean, everything that we know about the darkness holds true to that sword logic. Like that's a very,
because if we think about Radiolaria, for example, Exo are inherently stronger than Vex.
Yep. Elsie proves it when she crushes it underneath her foot.
Right. I don't know about simpler. Simpler might be a little harder to argue.
Okay, so maybe though, because the Exo itself, the physical being of an Exo was just created by humans.
Yeah.
Whereas
and the thing
the
that
robot
runs the Exo is still the Radiolarian.
Right. And the Radiolarian and the Vex robot itself, we don't know how complex that Vex robot actually is. We just know that on a molecular level, that Radiolarian will eventually turn organic material into metal and robot. But we don't know. We don't know what that metal is. We don't know what it's made of. We don't have we don't have an elemental anything for it.
The complexity of the shell might not matter.
Right.
The simplicity of the organism may be true, and
sure.
and whatever the Radiolaria turns into is a simpler, better form of the Vex Radiolaria, and by nature of that can power something as strong as an Exo, which in a lot of ways you could view an Exo as just an evolution of the Vex. It's a robotic body with a consciousness inside of it that's lives independent of the robotic parts.
Yeah. Holy shit.
We may be onto something.
Dude, this is...
Sounds good to me.
This is next level shit here. Now, if we can keep all these dots being connected, then we can predict the next season and everything that's going to be there without having to.
And then we can run our own league and post it.
And run our own! No. It's 10 o'clock now. I'm assuming you recorded the whole thing, right?
Well, I've been broadcasting it.
Yeah, the door doesn't keep it
Oh,
place.
shit.
Mark's accepting donations for us.
Mark started to GoFundMe for this.
Yeah.
Screw your demonetization. I'm gonna privatize this shit. That's what we said about space, and then the space agency was like, nope, we're gonna move the finish line by 10 miles. You're no longer astronauts, bitches. You can't just pay your way into space.
Jeez.
And your penis-shaped rockets.
Well, I'm not too sure if Myth is reading this all from a book or memory, but it is quite impressive.
It is definitely not memory. Not this time.
This time was 4 pages of notes, right?
Yeah. So knowing our subject matter beforehand, I did some brushing up today and wrote an outline. So.
Oh, nice. It's like you do have a podcast.
It's literally like we have a podcast now. I ask the questions, Myth answers them. I interject with craziness and nuts theories and stuff and try to connect the dots myself, but Myth is the expert, so he's the brains behind the operation.
It's such a involved
Mark
story.
is our producer.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
With no editing though, that takes too much time.
Yeah, screw that. We're just gonna do it live.
Yeah.
I like it. These are fun. I almost want to do this like a like an every Monday thing. Monday's usually the day where we just have nothing to do. Like,
yeah, it's usually pretty slow.
It's the cleanup for the week. We've already done our raid challenge for the week. Everyone's just kind of winding down. Like, we might start doing the third Monday.
Except it's Tuesday.
Well, I mean, it's the end of the season and nobody's on, so.
No, I would totally be up for something like that. Like, I really enjoyed doing the research for this night. I enjoyed the evolution of our theories that came from just bouncing ideas around.
The evolution of the theories is what's like starting to put everything together for me. Like, it's starting to like, okay, this is why this happened here. This is why this had to happen this way because of this over here. Like, it first off, the writers at Bungie, A, are nuts, and B, are very, very coherent and very much all on the same page. Like, it's like they'll roll the ball. It's like they've got like a little ball and they just like roll it to the next guy and they're like, all right, there you go. I got all my ideas on the top part of it, but yours on the other side, and just roll it to the next guy. And then he puts a few words and just rolls it to the next guy. And the next guy's like, all right, good.
So I don't know that they do this, but I almost wonder. So with Disney, Star Wars, Disney literally employs a group of like, I think it's 4 or 5 people, that their only job is to know the storyline of every piece of Star Wars, piece of canonic Star Wars media, movies, books, TV shows, all of it. And they are in charge of being on set or consulting with every book to make sure that it still fits within the canonic story. And I almost wonder if Bungie has something.
They've got to. They've got to have just even if it's a small group of people, even if it's like 2 or 3, like, because I think that's a very smart thing to be done. Just to have it, because the more people that you bring into a group like that, the more you start getting like, oh, well, what about this? Well, what about this? What about this? You start getting more ideas outside of the central thing. And if you can keep everything central and you can keep everything very, very together, that's what creates a good story. That's what creates a saga, like whatever you want to call it, a long-running thing.
All the threads.
Absolutely.
And yet, the writing is phenomenal. I mean, rereading some of these lore cards and whatnot. And I use some of the wording verbatim in some of the bits I was talking about. But it's just so good, and to keep it all straight, and to have things that are years apart connect so perfectly.
That's the thing that gets me when they have an idea or they have something that even if it was just like a one-liner thing or like a single card from like the first days of Destiny, and then like 4 years later they're like, oh yeah, remember that one card? Here's the entire story that's because of this one card, and here's the whole thing that feeds off of it. It's like, what the hell? And then halfway through that story, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, this also ties into this over here.
Like a tide.
So that one emote that you have, it's all connected. That's what it is.
It really is.
That's what it is.
Really
they got just one dude just like tying strings to shit, and yeah, absolutely. Well, do you want to do? We got 3 new time trials.
Yes.
And a new Ascendant time trial. Shall we get to work?
Yes, I would absolutely be down for that. They shouldn't take very long at all based on our previous experience.
Oh, no. Not at all. I think I'm going to pretty much run the same setup.
Yeah. They're all new. I checked earlier.
Yep, all 3 of them are new.
Which is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll join you for those.
Ooh. They'll go even faster
help
now.
This time, yeah. So, let's see. What do we want to start with? I guess we'll start with Despair. Let me see what the shields and such are. Well, we won't have to worry about the shields. We can just run by them.
Except in the final room. Do we know if there's any?
I don't know.
Oh, no, because even the nightmares didn't matter. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
because
so this is Crota.
Okay.
Famine is on, so ammo's going to be scarce.
Do the sword knights? Because we have to have the sword knights to break his steel, so we can do damage to him.
Right. I want to say they are arc shields, if I remember.
Okay. I don't know if they were arc shields or they were barrier or if they were anything special.
I don't think any of the nightmares are made into champions.
Okay.
Or at least they haven't been so far.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and keep my 3 though. I'll do just in case. I'll do barrier and overload.
Okay. Let me switch some stuff up.
Yeah. I'll do Divinity for Overload, and then Chroma Rush, Barrier, and I've got Divinity for Arc, Tomorrow's Answer for Void, and then Solar Grenades.
Sounds good. I'm gonna run Void, so I'll have Void Grenades, and then I'll run Anarchy for Breach and Clear, and I guess a Sniper, just to have a Sniper. Have some long distance. Well, you know what, maybe...
Just cause.
We'll do this. I'll run Xeno for Solar, and then Ignition Code for Breach and Clear. That should work. Okay. Alrighty. We all good to go?
Yep.
I'm ready.
Here we go then. So, Eclipse, we're doing time trials, so we're killing the nightmares to lower barriers and open doors, and then just sprinting through everything else.
Yep.
We're pretty sure the key is to keep them under 10 minutes. The longest one we had was Zydron at about 8:15 or 8:30.
Yeah.
And it still gave us the time trial for it.
Okay.
So we're thinking that as long as we're under 10 minutes, we've got the time trial.
Yeah.
On Master? Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Has to be on Master for the time trials.
Crota, son of Oryx. He considered himself a god and acted as such. His strength proved too much for my fire team and I. He and his brood took their lives.
So it looks like we have
and left
the nightmares
me
and the ogre.
Crota threatened all we had left. The pyramid serves to do the same. It is no surprise Crota haunts us once again.
Do I have Unstoppable on? I thought I did. I do, so I can get that over.
Okay, I'll work.
Jeez.
Yeah, melee damage is increased.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the ogre's stunned, but I died.
All 3 nightmares are down.
Okay, so we can just go now.
If it's easier to take him down than take him down, he's pretty weak. It's not. All balls, Mark.
Yep.
We do not have sparrows here, so
That's fine. We're only at a minute. So
if we need to redo this one, this would be a pretty easy spot to cut time on now that we know what we're in for.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. I remember doing that before, and I was like, I'm not even sure where to go, though. Jeez. Oh, sort of.
Yeah, we're gonna end up in like Crota's old room.
love your cat. I absolutely love your cat.
So I think we have to kill. Yeah, we have to kill the nightmares here to open the door. There are quite a few. closed.
Oh, there
Door's
it
open.
is.
Hop over the
Into
night.
darkness. I'm unfortunately out of heavy though.
I don't know if I'm going the right way.
I think
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
following Zor.
That works. One nightmare just below me. There's all three in below me. Okay, they're all in my well. Nightmare's all down. Third nightmare's all down. Yep. The darkening hallway is the one that's
hopefully it'll pull.
we'll find it. Yeah. Make sure to skip past
Skip past it. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about the champions.
Oh, okay.
If we can just run past them.
I got solar grenades on the nightmares. They're just standing there right now.
I am
3 acolytes.
so nowhere near you.
Ah, you're good. We're only at 4. It put me clear at the beginning. It put me behind you guys.
Oh.
Oh, it's right. That's not fair.
I wasn't even supposed to go.
Oh shit! Nope, I might have gone backwards because there's a door here now. I think I ran backwards in a minute. Man, you want to go ahead and restart this one?
Yeah, it's real lost.
Let's give this one a second shot here.
Yeah.
Because I died and it put me just inside the darkness hallway, but it put me facing backwards. So when I started running forward, I was actually running towards you, Myth, and back towards the circle room, the Omnigul room.
That's not good. That's not good.
Yeah.
Alright, let's try this again.
Once more with feeling. Myth, you said some of the adept mods only come from Trials of Osiris?
Only come from Trials, yeah. I know. They weren't any of them that I really thought were super important. Is like adept charge time for fusion.
Okay.
I think the ones that only come from
blast
Trials.
radius, projectile speed.
Yeah,
impact,
I think the ones that
like
only come from Trials
Son
are
of Oryx.
ones that only Trials
He
weapons can
considered
use.
himself a god and acted as such.
You know, like there's only a
His
Trials
strength proved
adept
too
fusion
much
rifle.
for my fire
Right.
team
So,
and I.
If you got it
He
somewhere
and
else,
his
it wouldn't
brood
matter if
took
you were
their
not running
lives
Trials. You wouldn't be able
and
to
left
use it.
me nearly dead. Crota threatened all we had left. The pyramid serves to do the same. It is no surprise Crota haunts us once again.
That was much better.
Yes. Oh shit, that was a poorly timed rocket.
That's kind of funny.
That was. It should be all 3. Yep.
Yep. Awesome.
Much better
Yes,
time.
I totally took the wrong hallway the first time.
hallways in the moon can get turned around real fast in them.
Bit.
That used to be our thing in D1 is we'd enter one side of the moon and then pop out on the other side of the moon.
Yeah, the under the moon is a lot bigger than people think.
Oh yeah.
There's some nightmares here.
Yep. Blow myself up.
That's all.
Barrier up here, watch out.
There's an ogre. Is he unstoppable? He is not. He's
Nope. And there's a barrier right now. I got one of them burning. One nightmare down. The other two are at the end of that hallway. There you go. There's two. And almost three.
Yeah, he's finishable.
Yeah.
He's just mocking me.
We threw sword logic in Crota's face and proved he wasn't a god after all.
Too bad.
Let's take the Crota nightmare down.
I come out of that cave.
These are arc shields. Oh no, they're arcane swords. He one-shots. Two swords. There's all the afterlives now. I think it's just you guys.
It's fucking switching. There you go.
Here, let me.
There we go. Alright.
Okay, you got it.
Ouch!
You can only do damage with the sword, yeah?
Yep.
Alright,
I missed it.
Maybe it is going sword. Damn. Probably gonna be the hardest for the time trial. Joining the sword. Oh god! I missed that one! Oh god!
Oh no. Oh no. What are you doing to me?
Making this harder.
beta swing. There we go.
Yep, can't do anything. Just sword.
Alright, well, yeah, this is gonna be a long one.
Oh! Yeah, he's no joke. He's literally one shot. There's one sword. Another sword pinned in the middle of the arena. They're both rushing in.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, now he's just.
What the heck?
Careful. Yeah. If he slams you, you're dead. So you kind of
if he even looks at you.
Yeah, you need somebody to like draw his attention.
Yeah.
Before you go in for a hit.
For a slice. Yeah.
Let's respawn timers if you want.
I got 13 seconds.
7.
Okay, we're just gonna play it that way.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We still got time. We're just now hitting 8 seconds.
Okay, so for the next swords, whoever doesn't pick one up tries to draw them.
Be the baiter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there's one sword there if you want to pick that
Yep,
up.
I've got one. And it's gone already. The timer on it is.
Oh, now he's chasing us.
Oh god, he's chasing us.
I realize he's coming to you, Zor. He's coming to you. He's behind you.
Oh! Damn, that might be.
I think that might push us over. I think we should still do it to try and like figure out the best way to do the fight. Yeah.
I do like that idea of like one guy baiting him and then the other two have the swords.
Yeah, I think
we're still doing. I think we're okay.
Because if we consistently have 2 people hammering in with swords, though, like I feel like we're gonna see damage. Damage be a lot higher.
Yeah. He got me in. Oh,
yeah. One sword swipe as well.
One swipe. I think he's going to be the hard one just because we can't burst him down with features. Like, it's going to be paramount that we get to him in under 4 minutes, so we got this much time. Go ahead and restart it, because I think it's going to be paramount that we get to him in under 4 minutes.
Do we want to do it just for the fight, to like get a good groove on the fight, or do you want to just restart because you think we've got that?
Let's go ahead and restart. I'm completely out of ammo. As a singular point.
Yeah.
And I think I want to change over to something a little more ammo efficient.
And I think too, when we get to that stage, we have to wait for the knights to come out to us so that the swords don't drop like by the boss
inside the arena. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's try that again. All good.
All right.
Mark, what's your account global kill rate?
I have no idea.
I mean, total kills.
Probably 1 million or something.
Yeah.
But I do have to pick up Easton at 11, so probably got like 1 or 2 attempts at this.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then when you slice them, is it better to R2 slam or R1 slash?
I was doing R2.
Question.
Yeah.
R2.
Yeah, I was spamming R2s.
Okay.
I don't know if they're better or not. It's just what I defaulted to.
Bursty too. Okay.
Yeah.
I figure the R2s are a little burstier.
Yeah, that's kind of how because we have such a limited time window.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
I think you only get like 3 swings at it anyhow.
Crota,
yeah,
son of Oryx. He considered himself a god and acted as such. His strength proved too much for my fire team and I. He and his brood took their lives and left me nearly dead. Crota threatened all we had left. The pyramid serves to do the same. It is no surprise Crota haunts us once again.
There's one on me. God damn, that ogre came out of nowhere. What are you using?
Sidearm.
You have to hold it.
Oh, you have to aim
aim for a second.
Gotcha. Door should be open.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, it is literally like a second. Or two.
Yeah.
Doors up.
Kind of feels like it. Alright, I think, yeah, that was all right.
Or that ogre goose.
Just keep going, sorry.
Okay. This all through my plan.
Guardian down.
Oh, there's a knight right there.
We threw sword logic in Crota's face and proved he wasn't a god after all. Let's take the Crota nightmare down.
Somehow I'm not.
Yep.
Grab the relic.
Yep.
You get to be at the
mark your base.
Yeah. Go.
Okay, a single swipe will stun him.
We'll kneel him. Yep, and then about four R2s. Yep. Out of ammo.
Make sure to pick up those buffs too.
Got one sword.
Yeah, good point. Pick up the nightmare buffs.
Yep.
Where is he?
Good question. Do not see it.
Maybe just go in with that one while you have the buff
Yeah,
still.
just go in. Yeah, I guess. They must have despawned or something. I wonder if we killed that one really early.
Go in.
Go and get him.
No! Oh no!
I tried to stun him.
That's okay.
What's our time at? I wasn't watching.
7:30.
Well, let's see.
We'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
This one might have a little bit more leeway.
Hopefully, this is a long time.
Yeah.
Even to get to this point.
You were doing some bigger damage though with the buff.
The buff really makes a difference. Yeah.
Oh, damn. That amount of fire was not going to do it. Okay. I was hoping that would be a little stun on there. It did not.
One more go.
Yes, sir.
We'll try this.
Then we'll rotate over to Omnigul. knock the other two out first, and then come back to Crota. Rough. Damn.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
The shockwave from him like hits behind him and it killed me.
Oh my god.
He was following Zor all the way around even with me swinging back.
He was. Yeah. Like I had his attention, but damn, I thought that she'd be able to get in there, man. Holy shit. Let's switch over to Omnigul. See if she's any see if taking out the will of Crota is a little makes Crota himself a little less willful to kill us. A little less willing to kill us, I guess, would be the. Because she's just in that first room, if I remember right, the first one that we get to. Yeah, I think we still have to fight our way down into it, because I think we'll start at the top of the Hellmouth.
So I just looked it up. The time trial for him appears to be 15 minutes.
Okay. So it does inherently give you longer. Okay.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, but let's go fight ourselves an Omnigul.
What we got for same stuff?
Famine. Increased damage from melee. I would swap in a melee protection.
That's what I'm thinking. Let me
over
let me
like
do
sniper or something.
Yep, because I think I have sniper in mine. I do. Yep, let me throw in melee resist. I've got concussive in there too.
Yeah, I'm gonna do melee.
Solar
concussive.
resist might be the. No, concussive because there's a lot of all the knights and the ogres and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
All right. We all good to give this a go?
Yep.
Yes, sir. Arc and aerial damage increased. Oh, not quite the top performance.
Doors closed. Doors closed.
This door will be closed as well.
Yep. I think that looks like the nightmare's right at the top of the stairs.
Guardian down.
Damn. Keep going, King. Aww. I do love how they give us a different path to the same room, but people who are stuck in the room.
Right?
Like, it's just rude.
You're like, I know it's behind that door. Right
Minute
there.
30? Yeah. Screw you, buddy.
Alright, we do have
a barrier
nightmares
down here with 2 nightmares. Yep. Got one of the nightmares.
I got
Should have the other 2 on you. Yep.
Yep.
Guardian down. Shit.
Got one.
Mark got the second one. The third one. Use a barrier. Oh, nope. Come. Straight towards Mark. There we go.
Alright. This is the room for her.
Yep. like they centered on me.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna swing around to you, miss.
Yeah. Her shield's down now.
We got 8 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There's a thrall on me. Just him. Buff if you can. I am out of reach and clear, so all we got is energy for that.
Just a tick. 601, 602, 603, 60. Come on, timer.
There's something else we're supposed to do here.
There okay. I was like, okay. Dude, we lose this because this thing is like, man, fuck it, we're just gonna time them out. Like, screw you, game.
Alright, cool. Well, we got it. Awesome.
Yay! Did something pop up for you?
Yeah, it's a triumph.
Time trial anguish.
Oh, maybe I've got them all done already.
Mark's already a badass.
Where is that? If you have the Harbinger title, you've definitely done them all.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah. Yep. Then he has done them all. Yep.
Alright. So the next one then is going to be Vanity, which is Fickroll.
Fickroll.
Famine. Yeah, they're all the same. I guess they must all match.
Enhanced radar. Yeah. It's weird. Empathetic. That's not
how that works.
That's not how that works at all.
Jeez, Easton says come for 11:30. That's late.
Oh wow. Looks like the store needs a deep clean today.
I know, because the subway closes at 9.
11:30. Jesus.
Yeah.
Got to inventory all that bread.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Make a bunch of sandwiches.
Yeah. That'll be a full 8-hour shift because he started at 8:30. Or sorry, 4:30.
Holy cow!
Right?
Big money.
No. 7 hours.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah. I just think it's funny, because like GameStop, like if we spent more than 30 minutes after close, like we got yelled at.
Yeah.
Mm.
Alright. We're going
into the breach.
Oh, we're going.
You can't touch it. Oh, you can't touch it.
Remember, Fallen hate sparrows.
They do. Benny has proved it. Fallen hate sparrows. That's such a good.
Yeah, because this is like vaguely familiar. I'm like, I kind of remember doing these missions, but makes sense now. But yeah, I think I mentioned that earlier this week that I had finally got the ghost from the Altars of Sorrow that I needed for the seal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Which is pretty awesome.
Well, it just took forever. Like.
I'm glad they're taking a lot of that stuff out of Pilot.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I guess there's still some RNG of like collecting all the raid gear. This kind of thing. Oh, it's behind us. Nightmare behind us.
Open.
Nope. Okay, there you go. Yeah. They're inside the barrier. They're just running through the barrier. Top on bottom. One's behind the barrier itself.
There's one down.
Two. Yep, third one is possible. Yeah, he's just floating all around. There we go.
Yeah, later on in this hallway.
Concentrate on me. Yeah. Oh god.
Oh, screw.
Oh god.
They did it again.
They did it again. They did it again, Myth. Oh god. Oh buddy. Oh buddy.
They did that same thing with Exploding Thrall and with the Exploding Vex.
The Vex? No, the Shank.
Oh, the Shanks, yep.
Exploding Shank. Sorry, sweetie. Love you.
Oh, I'd get out of that.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
He's damageable again.
Cancel. We push that second one pretty fast.
Yeah. Got for Arc Puddle.
Yep, the last ones are on my side. So you head your way, Mark. Oh, not in front of it, your way, not me.
Oh, I see.
You can get back to the safe spot, you should be able to get Mark. 5, so we're good. Go hug all this. I'll just take this one left too. Alright, Bundy, you gotta cut this shit. Thank you. Like, quit. We killed him. Stop your timer.
Just give it to us.
Well, we want to give
So
Crota
do you have
another shot.
You have some more time now, Mark. From the
Yeah.
sounds of it. Do you think
Yeah, I thought I had to
another
pick.
one?
Yeah, I thought I had to pick him up at 11, but I'm good for another 25 minutes.
Okay.
Alrighty. Let's give this a shot then. Let me make a little bit of a change here. Get this one. And no, because I can't do you. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter because these swords. Okay. Yep. All right. That's what we're sticking with. I think just because we can't press him down, there's not really any reason to go with anything but a little bit of survivability. But I think if everything he does one shot anyway, I don't know. It's not make a difference one way or another for anything.
And I'll try to stay at the entrance of the room and take shots at him, and then you guys can kind of flank him from the sides, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah,
and I too.
I think if he does focus on one of us, then we're just gonna have
the
to
other
try
one
and
move in.
try and bait the slam, and then let the other one move in on him.
Yep.
It's just a Dark Souls boss.
Except I don't have to dodge.
Or iframes. Or shield.
I need a dodge. That's all I wanted to dodge.
Crota, son of Oryx. He considered himself a god and acted as such. His strength proved too much for my fire team and I. He and his brood took their lives and left me nearly dead. Crota threatened all we had left.
1, 2.
The pyramid serves to do the same. It is no surprise Crota haunts us once again.
Oh, jeez. That ogre. Run.
Also, have I told you how much I love subsistence now?
Yeah.
You have not, but I understand why.
Dude, it is great.
Yeah, after the changes, it's like I don't think there's any reason to run anything else as far as reload perks go.
Yeah, like I was doing. So I was running the lost sector, one of the lost sectors on Europa to try to. I need like 250 something more headshots to get the Triumph finished. And I was just in there with Keening, with subsistence, and it's one shot and everything with a headshot, so I never had to reload ever.
Yep, it's pretty great.
It's beautiful.
So it's a lot safer going up that left side. Like
absolutely, it is. It would be nice if all sword logic held true, and I could just use any sword.
We threw sword logic in Crota's face and proved he wasn't a god after all.
Hopefully
Let's take the Crota nightmare down.
Okay, cool. Alright, I've got one sword.
Well, the sword is on me, but I don't know that I'm gonna live.
Yeah, I'm moving around to the front.
He's following me. Got it. Stunned.
Nice. Yeah. As soon as you get out, we'll get you back. Whoa, shit, that was short.
Alright.
Get out of there.
Oh. Just went down again.
I don't think that was supposed to happen at all. Okay, that was fun.
Guardian down.
I don't know how he got to me that quick, but careful, he's right.
Yep, I'm finished.
Should have picked up those bucks.
Yeah, I got one.
Sun's got arc shield back. Alright, there you go. Got two.
Done. Out.
I just dropped it. It has like 2 seconds left. Alright, got one.
Pretty weak though. He won't get me. Yep. Keep on with me.
Oh, I think it's actually better to R1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get
Because R1s are like 15 to 16,000 each, and an
and
R2 is 32,000.
Less ammo away too.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's better to R1.
Okay. Holy shit, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Get out.
You can get me, Mark, you can get me. You might have pushed the damage phase. Yeah, get out of there, Mark. Stay in the scan. I'm up to 14 now, you're fine. Oh, close to north and 14 then. I'm up in 7. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm up.
I hope you have arc.
I do, but I am... bad spot to be in over there.
10 seconds.
Alright.
I'm back in.
I've got one.
And that second one.
He's down. I'm out.
That one was rough.
The parents will find a
rough.
way to bring
We're
him
under
back
10
yet
minutes
again.
still.
Yeah, we are. Well, until they stop the damn
ready.
timer.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude, that one is rough.
That one is.
That's got to be the hardest one. So the two I have
Feels
left are
like
Rage and Fear. One of them is the ogre. What is it? Phylax or not Phylax?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Though.
The ogre though from the
Fogoth.
Fogoth. Yep.
Yeah.
And Gaul. Gaul's got to be the other one.
Yep. Those are the two I have left as well.
Nice. Senate challenge.
Yeah. Do we know where it is?
This one's up to you. We know last week was in the gardens.
All right.
Last week was the only one that I had. So let's see. Your last week was never forfeit. So forfeit shrine was the last one. If that gives you any help determining what the next one is.
Yeah, I'm just gonna Google Ascendant Challenge this week.
That's fine.
Because that usually works. Shattered ruins in the spine of Karis.
I thought I had a picture. I do have a picture. So the one after Forfeit Shrine is the Shattered Ruins and Spine of Karis. It is on a medium week.
Yep. So let's go.
I actually took a picture today, and I'm going to send it to the group.
Ah, there you go.
I don't know why I took a picture of a picture. That was dumb. How about I just dump that? Just send the damn picture.
Don't forget to pick up the Ascended Challenge bounty from Petra. And also, I learned if you turn in Petra's the bounties from Petra that reward legendary gear, if you go to the Shattered Throne and turn them in there, they count as boss drops and have the ability to roll with the Shattered Throne specific perks for the weapons.
Sneaky. I can't find the damn picture. Just had it. Where the hell did it go?
I mean, I don't know if there's anyone else in our group that's actively hunting Ascendant challenges.
I don't care, Myth. I'm sending it to you. Yeah, fuck it. I can't find it. I don't care now.
Yeah.
It's in my phone. I have it. Picture is right there. This is the medium week.
Yep.
I knew that.
Still fighting the good fight, I see.
I needed Oracle Engine too, didn't I? Oracle Engine. Well, sweet Jesus.
Good choice.
I know what I'm doing. Challenge complete.
Can we check real quick the rocks are shiny? Since we have
Yes, we can. We absolutely can.
Queen.
If they're not, we don't have to wait around. My last hidden shrine. For Dream City. They are
not.
not.
That face.
Oh well.
Maybe if we teabag it, I'm gonna shine. Oh, I teabagged so hard that a rift came out. Oh, now mine's shiny. It's because of my rift. Don't come back.
That's not how that works.
Don't.
That's not how that works. Yeah.
Don't come back.
Let's see. Oh, I kind of remember this one. It's way out in the boonies, isn't it?
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, no. This way. It's like at the very beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
Of the Dreaming City.
So, oh, I remember. I had a trick to this one. So I'll wait till you guys get here to show you how I usually went to it, and it ended up being faster most of the time.
Well, I have a trick on how to get there.
A tincture?
Yeah, you can jump across from the bridge up here, clear across too.
Only warlocks can.
Oh, can only warlocks?
Nobody else can make it.
Oh, that's sad. Well, Titans could probably swordfly, maybe.
So the way I did it was from this tree up here.
Yeah, yep.
That would give you enough height for it.
Oh, Guardian down.
Stop my jump
puts us to shame.
Did he just make it first try? Like, fuck you guys. Yeah, no, we suck. We are the worst warlocks in the history of warlocks.
You did it from down here.
But there's if you use a tincture of clue foil, there's the platforms there that you can use.
Oh, the cheater!
Taking the easy way out. I see how it is.
Look at it. He's just standing out there in the middle. Fucking cheater.
Where do the platforms start?
Down below. Almost like you're going to the portal underneath.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Can you stand on them if?
You could not. Like, you have to be.
Yeah.
You have to be tinctured up.
Yeah.
Which works because we need it for the Ascendant challenges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they start down there somewhere.
Yeah. The one I'm on. Or I'm on one right now.
Yep.
Cheaters. Both of you. Hey, did we ever figure out what the hell that Ascendant move was from the Halloween?
Nope, still have it. I'm hoping it's gonna pay off one day, like holding on to Kvostov did in the original.
Yeah. So far that has been the only thing to have paid off. Over here.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah, I see. Alright. 2, 1, go. Oh, this is the climb the tower.
Yep, to the top of the tower. I'm assuming it's just tall balls.
Pretty much, yeah.
back in.
Well, it completed for me. It gave me the...
Gave you the time trial?
Yeah, did it give you the time trial or no?
I've already got it, so...
Oh, well, boo on me then.
Give it to you,
That's all that matters.
But I do want to get up there to open the chest.
Yes, loot. The ultimate driving force. Okay, ultimate driving force. How am I missing this every damn time? I know, Kitty. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait. Oh, no. The body, wait. Oh, it's outside. That's right.
That's exactly. Well, that's poopy. Well, the portal's gone.
Oh. Right. I forgot about that.
That's okay.
You have to, like, reload the area.
That's fine. All I wanted was the triumph anyway.
Okay. Well,
I am
mission accomplished, I guess.
I'm okay without loot. I will live.
Oh, now I'm stuck inside.
Oh, God.
The portal disappeared to get out.
Well, then. Take that. Smarty pants.
Fast travel.
I'm stuck in the Ascendant Realm and I can't get out. Yes, fast travel does appear to work still, so.
Good job, Toland.
I don't want to be Toland's roommate.
Fucking
weird.
He's weird. He is nuts. He is straight fucking nuts.
What do you guys need for Harbinger?
Just all the time trials for Nightmare Hunts.
Yeah, the time trials for me, and then I need to do a solo pit and a flawless pit.
I just need the solo. Well, this was definitely a productive night.
I think I'm still broadcasting.
Yeah.
2 hours and 38 minutes.
Nice. Now, when you're broadcasting, like, are you just broadcasting through the PlayStation, or like what? How does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just YouTube.
Okay.
So is our actual like whole lore session recorded for real this time?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Mondays is a thing.
I thought it was kind of neat going back and watching like the Crown of Sorrow flawless run we did. Now that raid is not even in the game, East and I
absolutely.
And it wasn't even that long. I think it was like half an hour, 36 minutes again, around that. And 15 of like I think it was like 12 minutes of it is like the entrance area.
Either that or us just sitting in space waiting for East to
so it was like 12 minutes of the first area, probably 3 or 4 minutes of Easton platforming, and then it was like literally 15 minutes for the last two encounters. Because
that's the thing with flawless and like time trials, like you just get them done, like.
Well, that third encounter of Crown of Sorrow was literally like one phasing that boss, right? So it's just 5 minutes, maybe even less than 5 minutes to do that section. And then the boss encounter was 10 minutes. But it was fun still going back, and I'm like, man, we should just be recording all these raids until, like, just in case they take them out of the game so you can kind of go back and watch them.
Relive our glory days.
Yeah.
Well, shall we call it this a good time?
Yep. I'm gonna go get Easton a little bit.
Alrighty. Well,
good job, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to do your sign-off spiel.
I haven't come up with that yet.
And this is Myth and Ztories calling it a night, and we'll see you something.
Something.
That works.
Something dark side. Something complete.